Oh yeah, welcome into another episode of Rip and Riff here on the Rip and Riff YouTube channel. That over there is at Mr. Jared Moore. Over here is at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard. Two happy Yankee fans right now as we wait for Game 1 of the World Series coming up later this week. More on that later. But Jared, how was the weekend? I know how your weekend was, but give us a little taste here as we come at you on a Monday now for Rip and Riff.
You want a little taste of how my weekend went? I'll give you a little taste of how my weekend went. Very big poker weekend for your boy, and the proof is in the pudding. So that's a nice fat stack right there. So if you want to know how the weekend went, that's how the weekend went, my friend.
I'll be posting Jared's address in the show notes later on. If you want you can swing by his house and say hi, or you could just check out his poker content at Jared Moore Poker on YouTube, or you can do both. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Also, if you happen to see me outside, I don't carry that much cash around. So if you think you're gonna jump me, first of all, good luck.
Yeah, that's also
I can certainly handle my own, but also, you're not going to get much out of it if you try that. I don't carry that much cash on me, aside from when I'm going to the bank, which I probably should make a trip to the bank with that sitting right there.
I mean, you have to have quite the vertical to literally jump Jared. So I hope your calves are strong if you're going to do that. There we go. It was a good weekend for you. Busy weekend for me. You'll talk, the weekend wrap with the Jet game last night. We'll get into that in a little bit. But we're a couple minutes in the show. Let's tell everybody what we're ripping today. I mean, we got to set the table here, and it's going to be some baseball and some basketball today. We'll do a starting lineup figure 5 football later. But I've got a pack of Topps Heritage 2022 baseball there. There you can see some of those rookies: Julio Rodriguez, Nick Lodolo, Bobby Witt Jr., Spencer Torkelson. It's based on the 1973 Topps look there. And it's been a while since we've gone cup chasing. So we're going to open up a couple of packs of the 1990 Pro Set hockey. Maybe today's the day we get that Stanley Cup hologram and we kick off the week on the right note. Jared, what do you throwing at us today?
Yeah, I like that we're going Stanley Cup chasing because we have the Frozen Frenzy tomorrow. So nice shot by the NHL and their infinite wisdom scheduling that against opening night of the NBA. But that's neither here nor there. We've been ripping these Topps 2023 Series 2 baseball packs with Aaron Judge on the cover throughout the postseason. The Yankees have been winning throughout the postseason, so we're not messing with the winning formula here, my friends. We're going to rip open another one of these packs today, and I'm also going to make sure I secure some of them. And like I mentioned, NBA season starts, so we got a nice box here of Panini Mosaic cards, 6 packs per box. It was 6 cards per pack, so we'll do a couple packs of this. Not the entire box, but we'll certainly we'll wet the beak a little bit with the NBA season beginning.
There we go. Yeah, we're not big basketball guys, but we certainly don't neglect it here on Rip and Riff. Next week we're actually going to be on Halloween on Thursday because we're going to have a special guest coming at you. But the following week we'll do like a true NBA show with lots more NBA packs. But we just wanted to wet the beak a little bit today, a little Panini Mosaic there. But before we get to ripping the packs, got to get to our favorite segment here. So without further ado, it's time to kick things off on Rip and Riff with
my Rip and Rant.
Thanks, Dave. Sometimes Rip and Rant is like a positive. Today's not going to be a positive on either front here. Both NFL related. We're not doing football cards today, but we'll kick things off with some football now and some football at the end and the starting lineup figure 5. But Jared, do you want to kick or receive here for the Rip and Rant?
I'll kick. I'll let you go first.
Okay. Listen, this is one I think we can all agree with here. And I had made a statement on this show back when Coop was on, maybe about a month or so ago, that I thought the Buffalo Bills could be a better team this year without Stephon Diggs, which was going against the grain. But because Stephon Diggs is a diva, sometimes it's addition by subtraction when you get that kind of personality out of the locker room. And he's not in Houston that long, and we're already seeing Stephon Diggs being Stephon Diggs. Quote regarding his pregame scuffle with Jair Alexander, cornerback from the Green Bay Packers. I'm never the bigger person. About an end quote there. Roughly 20 minutes before the kickoff, they had a heated exchange on the field. Seconds later, it became typical pushing, shoving, that kind of stuff. A little pregame heat. I've got no problem, jawing at the field, you're hyped up, you know, you want to say shit, you want to talk trash, you want to chirp guys, all that stuff, that's fine. But when your attitude afterwards is I'm never the bigger person, I'm sorry. Stephon Diggs, aren't you supposed to be like a role model to some of these guys on this team? Aren't you supposed to be a seasoned vet at the age of 30 years old? Grow the up. Like, what is wrong with you? Seriously? You know, again, like, you're a very talented wide receiver. I've got, you know, what you bring to the field is great. But I think what you meant to say in the post game in response to that was, hey, I let my emotions get the better of me. I have to realize that as a veteran, as somebody that's brought in to be a leader on this team, I need to set a better example. I have to let my personal beefs, I have to do it on the field. I have to go out and have a good day. That's how I shut a guy like that up. I go out and post 6 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown. That's how you shut up Jair Alexander. You don't turn it into that, because you know what? Maybe that was the edge that the Packers needed to get over here at home. Maybe they had a little extra oomph after that. I don't know, but I've always been taught you don't give poster board material. You don't give the other team any other reason to get amped up. And when you pull shenanigans like that, you're selfish, and you're never going to be a champion that way. I'm sorry. Like, enough is enough, Stephon. Like, grow the fuck up. Be as good a person on the field and a leader as your talent is on display. Enough's enough.
There is a reason why so many of the quote unquote diva wide receivers have never won anything, from like Chad Ochocinco to Terrell Owens to, and you can certainly put Stephon Diggs in that group as well. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the Bills got rid of him, and the Bills are doing just fine without him right now. And also, they just got a pretty talented receiver to replace him in Amari Cooper from that trade last week with the Cleveland Browns. And, you know, Amari Cooper's been in the league for a long time, and he certainly doesn't, you know, he has a track record of being a quality wide receiver. He also has a track record of not being one of those guys and sort of being quiet, go about his business, let his game do the talking. So I completely agree with you. Those types of players are generally a turnoff for me, and are the type, you know, the Odell Beckham types. I mean, I know he was on that Rams team that won a Super Bowl, but for the most part, you generally don't win with those guys, and I don't think it's a coincidence that Stephon Diggs has not won anything and probably never will win anything. And, you know, we'll see what the Texans ultimately are, but yeah, it's just not a good look.
I just want to go back to a grown man, a 30-year-old man said, quote, I'm never the bigger person. Are you serious? I'm never the bigger person. Yeah, see how that works out for you, bud. Keep that attitude up. See what happens to you. See how far your career goes. You're going to have plenty of stats. You might even be a Hall of Famer, potentially. Or maybe Hall of Very Good. I don't know. Let's see how the rest of your career plays out. But dude, like, you're never gonna win shit with that attitude. I'm sorry. And I know I'm some nobody out of shape, 40-year-old white guy. But like, no, even I know better than that. And there's a lot of coaches, and I'm sure DeMeco Ryans, the way he carried himself as a player and as a coach, he's gonna remind you that the attitude is not acceptable in a DeMeco Ryans locker room.
Right. I completely agree. Well, since we're speaking about bad leaders and bad teammates and bad people, it's a natural segue to one of our favorite punching bags on the show, noted booger eater Aaron Rodgers, who, by the way, was digging for gold and decided to have a little sample of that and got caught on camera doing that. So nice job. You have that in common with Jerry Jones, who's another bad guy and another loser, but that's neither here nor there. So after another Jets loss last night, because of course the Jets lost last night after acquiring Davante Adams, because Davante Adams might make the Jets better, but didn't fix anything that was actually wrong with the New York Jets. They lose last night on Sunday Night Football by basically
22 points.
Yeah, 18 points. It was like 33-15, something like that. And Aaron Rodgers is asked what the team needs to do. Pretty benign question from the media afterwards, and basically said after the game, well, stop listening to you for once. So I guess it's the media's fault that this overhyped, overrated Jets team that's supposedly all in is 2-5. I suppose it's the media's fault that the Jets defense can't make a stop on washed Russell Wilson, who actually played pretty well against that Jets defense.
He looked vintage last night.
Yeah, well, A, I guess the Steelers knew what they were doing making the switch, and B, that's not a good look for this Jets defense that everyone keeps telling me is great and continually never gets a big stop ever. I suppose it's the media's fault that Aaron Rodgers is one of the league leaders in interceptions with 7. I suppose it's the media's fault that the offensive line can't block. And I suppose it's the media's fault that the offensive line and the team in general is as undisciplined as they are because they commit a billion penalties every week. So, I mean, this is just classic Aaron Rodgers, his passive aggressive demeanor, his attitude. He's always blaming everybody else. And he never, I know he immediately said after that, I have to be better. But when you say things, when you throw Mike Williams under the bus last week, when you have a long track record in Green Bay of throwing receivers under the bus, and now you're blaming the media, I'm sorry, you're a bad leader, you're a bad teammate, you're a bad guy, and also you eat boogers.
Now listen, everybody's been there. Let's address the booger situation first. Everybody's been there where like you got like a really big one or like one that's just like pointing on. It's like you can feel it. It's crusty. It's annoying the crap out of you. You don't have a tissue nearby. You got to get it out. It happens. We've all been there driving, whatever. But you don't eat it. Yeah, why are we eating them? Like,
what are you, 6? You're eating boogers?
Like, do I have to have the same conversation with you that I'm having with my 5-year-old sometimes about eating them? Like, come on now. So there we go. That's that. Like, listen, I get, and just remember, you are like, you're not sitting in your living room watching the game. You are on a sideline with about 70,000 people watching, plus whatever the number is on TV. They're gonna catch, and you're a star player, so they're gonna have the camera on you occasionally.
You're Aaron Rodgers. You have to assume that camera is on you at all times. It's kind of like we've worked in this industry long enough where when we're doing a show, you always have to assume the mic is hot because you don't want to, I'll say something stupid, but I don't want to say something stupid on the air that'll get me canceled.
And so I mean, listen, like if you're the long snapper, as long as you're not long snapping, you can pick all day and probably get away with it, and nobody's gonna see it. But if you're Aaron Rodgers, you got to, or at least try and be discreet about it. But enough about the nose picking. The other stuff, you got New England coming up this week, right? This is a great get right spot. This is it. You get a 1 week adjustment, new guy in the building. Magically, Devontae Adams hamstring all of a sudden just cured up. Second, must have been that flight across the country somehow helped that hamstring. I don't know. But nonetheless, I agree with what you're saying. And this is turning into typical Jets real quick. And you don't want to read too much into one play, but when they come out for that first play, I think everybody in the building expected it was going to go to Devontae Adams. Simple little out route. And he drops it. And I'm like, man, I hope that's not like a foreshadowing of like how this is going to go. Like, you don't want to read too much into one play. And like the Jets, like, again, like they had a couple of series where it's like, wow, when things are clicking, this team can really do it. And then it just disappears the rest of the game. Like, where does it go?
Right.
So,
and like, it's important to remember with all this, the quarterback's 40 years old. Like, he might just not be very good anymore. Like, that's very much a possibility. If you look at the advanced stats in his QBR is right around where like Bo Nix and Daniel Jones is. Like, that's not where you want to be in terms of being like an upper echelon quarterback.
And here's the thing with those two names you just mentioned in that sentence. Those guys have mobile ability where if they get in trouble, they have a chance at getting out of trouble and making a positive yardage play. Even Chris Collinsworth was saying there was one play last night where he was operating out of the spread. And he's like, a younger Rodgers, you'd have to consider the possibility of him just taking it and running it when he only needs 4 or 5 downs. Maybe not so much at 40 years old, but you never know. And it's like, yeah, that's the problem. Is like, not that Rodgers was ever considered a mobile quarterback, but like, you had that threat of him potentially taking off. That is not a threat anymore. And now he, like you said, like receivers may be dropping passes, but some of his throws are subpar too. And he's throwing people under. It's like, you've got no more excuses now. We brought in one security blanket last year, Alan Lazard. Now we brought in one of your favorite receivers of all time to throw to in Devontae Adams. So you've got no more excuses. This is it. Like they've done everything to make you happy. They got rid of the coach you didn't respect. So like now this is it. You got New England now you got a week to get right. Get on the same page with everybody, get right spot against New England, and then you need to start winning after that. Because the AFC, I mean, the door is being left wide open for a lot of wild card teams right now. Buffalo's winning that division. You could kiss the division goodbye. Not unless you went out at this point and beat Buffalo in the last remaining game. So now you're in the wild card mix, which is still pretty good. It's still wide open, but like time's ticking. We're in week 8 coming up.
Yeah, and like we'll assume they get that New England game just because New England's not very good. But even if they get it, They're 3-5. You got to go 7-3, 7-2, probably the rest of the way to get to 10 wins, which probably gets you in the playoffs in the AFC. What have you seen from the Jets the first 2 months to convince you that they're capable of going on that type of run? Because I just don't see it. I'm sorry, I don't see it.
I mean, you look at the schedule, and I know we did this a little bit last week. The Texans at home on Halloween on a short week won't be easy. The Cardinals can put up points. The Colts have a good defense. The Seahawks, they're Jekyll and Hyde, but if you get them on a good week, they're pretty tough to beat. We'll see what Tua. You got 2 games against the Dolphins. Who knows what Tua's status is? If there's no Tua, there's a couple of wins there. Jacksonville looks awful. Yeah. That's a win. But then you still got Buffalo, and you got the Rams coming to town. They're not. Listen, the Jets. One of the Jets' problems is they can't stop the run. What do the Rams do pretty good right now? Run the ball.
Oh, good. Well, yeah, that's another thing with the Jets. That rushing defense that doesn't stop anybody. But what are you gonna do? Hey, at least Hassan Reddick's back in the building, so there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's every week I try to be like the positive Jet fan and be like, okay, but I'm running out of options, and it's starting to like not look good. Like I really thought this wasn't going to be a year where like there's always a point as a Jet fan, and you watch every game, but there's a point in every season where you stop trying to revolve your Sunday around that game. Like, okay, I got to get the yard mode and do homework with the kid and X, Y, and Z before or after. So there comes a point in the season where it's like, all right, maybe I'll catch the first half, but I got too much to do. I don't get I never thought I'd be at this point on Halloween with Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback, but it might be same old Jets in that regard. It might be, after the Texans game on Halloween, I might be like, if I got something else to do, I don't know if I'm going to go crazy trying to watch the Jets anymore this season. Like, I really hope it's like, I don't want to be at that point in October again.
Well, I'm sure things will be much better next year when he's 41. All right. You want to rip some cards?
Yeah. Let's rip some cards. That'll make me feel better.
All right. Yeah. We could definitely rip some cards and get into that. And as I do a horrible job here of prepping with the NBA and don't have those cards, we can experience me ripping the Panini box open together as a family. So we're good there. Got nice 6 packs here. I always love the look of these Mosaic cards. I think they do a really good job with them. Pack rips nice and easy. So we got that on our mind here. I'm trying to be careful because I'm trying not to ding the corners, and you know how that can be sometimes with some of these packs. So we'll do a few of these. If you don't mind pulling up the East Coast camera for me, that'd be much appreciated.
There we go.
But we got a solid role player to start here with Bobby Portis. Looks like he's about to catch and shoot. Probably not make that 3-pointer, but we're not going to insult the poor guy on this team.
Wonder how the Bucks do this year. I mean, a lot of people are already talking like, oh, the East is the Celtics and the Knicks and then everybody else. But we'll see what Giannis has to say about that.
Well, not off to a good start because Chris Middleton's going to miss the start of the season. So there's that. One of the teams in the Eastern Conference that'll have something to say about that, the Orlando Magic. Here's Bull.
I never thought the Orlando Magic would ever be on the rise again, but here we are. Hey, they're a team that you have to worry about in the East.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like the Devils in that respect, where you have enough high lottery picks. At some point, you're going to be halfway decent.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to pan out at some point. For the Oilers, it almost didn't. All those first overall picks, however many years they had it, but
yeah, well, until they got McDavid, who turned out to be the best one of the bunch. Patrick Williams with the Chicago Bulls.
Speaking of teams, you don't have to worry about making the playoffs this year.
No, I mean, here's a borderline team in the Eastern Conference, the Miami Heat. Certainly they'll be in the mix, but you never know. That's one of those teams that really needs to go out and add another star, and they haven't been able to quite do it. And also, what's the future of Jimmy Butler going to be in Miami?
Exactly.
Very nice card here of Luka Doncic. Nice insert card there. I
mean, that's a little parallel there. There's a little sleeve for you if you need it. But yeah, that one needs to get protected. That's a good looking card. Luka Doncic there. So some people like, oh, Dallas went, not to say it was a fluke, but like maybe the run was a little deeper than was expected. I mean, the West, it's, to me at least, seems like it's pretty wide open.
Yeah, I mean, I think the teams in the West are pretty well established. Denver will be in the mix. Oklahoma City, Minnesota, obviously Dallas. I know the Lakers like to pretend that they're in the mix, but I'm not really buying the Lakers at all. John Morant, epic performer card to finish out this first pack.
Yeah, it's amazing, how the Grizzlies are just with and without him, and if he could just stay on the floor, maybe they'd be one of those teams we talk about in the West amongst the top teams.
Yeah, I think John Morant's one of those guys. There's just a lot of stuff going on off the court with him where, yeah, you just want him to, tune out the outside noise and just play ball. I mean, I hate the term "shut up and dribble" because of the negative connotations with that. But that's one of those instances where "shut up and dribble" I think actually applies because he's as talented as anybody in the league, and you certainly want to see him on the court. You just hope that he can actually put together a full season here and stay healthy because I know injuries have been a thing with him as well.
Yeah, he's dealing with it from both sides, so he at least get rid of one of those problems.
Yep. So we start this next pack with probably the best player on one of the teams that's going to be considered a title favorite this year, Jalen Brunson here with the Knicks.
Yeah, like you said earlier, between them and the Knicks, they make the big trade there. They bring in Karl Anthony Towns there with the T-Wolves and that big deal. I know people are upset about Dante DiVincenzo being sent out, but listen, one of the things I heard was that the Knicks needed center. They needed better center play. I mean, they went out and got one of the best, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, Cat's not really much of a defender now these days, but he'll probably make up for it by shooting 1 billion threes. So there you go. He's a big man who can shoot. But yeah, it's interesting. Jalen Brunson. Who else wasn't happy about Dante DiVincenzo being traded was Dante DiVincenzo. You saw during that preseason game, he was giving it to Rick Brunson and some of the Knicks brass there. So I always like some good smack talk there. So we like that. Markelle Fultz, former #1 overall pick, hasn't really panned out. Now he's more of a role player with the Orlando Magic. Kevin Porter Jr. with the Houston Rockets. Don't really need to dive much more into that there. Let's see. Dorian Finney-Smith with the Brooklyn Nets. And I would say this is probably the winner right now in terms of us doing card of the day and inserts and all that. We got a nice insert here of a rookie Chet Holmgren card.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the rookies we had listed there. Chet Holmgren. Talk about the Thunder being a favorite in the West. He's a big reason why, along with SGA. Yeah, that's the Doncic card was in the running for poll of the day, but we've got a new leader in the clubhouse.
Yep, and one of my favorite players of all time, and I love that they include the legends in these sort of packs. I'm a huge Dirk guy. So get a nice Dirk Nowitzki epic performers card there. Certainly a big fan of pulling that one. I'm gonna do one more pack. I'll save the other 3 for next time we do an NBA guest.
I mean, you could potentially flip a little lot there with the Doncic and Nowitzki. Find a Mavericks person and maybe turn that around for them.
No, I think that one I would keep. Yeah, just because I am a Dirk guy, and I don't have a lot of players in the NBA who are like my guy, who I love to watch him play. Like Dame's one of those guys. I have a Dame rookie card, but for the most part, there's not a ton of those guys out there. So we'll go through this pack real quick. LeBron James, I don't consider him the GOAT, but a lot of people do. Don't know how many more years left you're going to have of LeBron in the league, so you may as well enjoy it while he's, still pretty damn good player. He's not the best player in the league anymore, but he's still a really good player who's in year 21, 22 in the NBA, which is insane.
No, I'm glad LeBron came out here because he was almost gonna be a target of Rip N Rant, but it ended up being the whole Stephon Diggs thing. I get it. You're a proud dad. You get to play with your son. This is all exciting. Like, you love every moment of it, but can you stop tweeting about your son's play like, a dad at like a high school level hockey, watch, you know what I mean? Like, you're still on the team, maybe pull that down a little bit because all you're inviting is more crap against your son. There's enough people in this world that already can't stand you to a ridiculous level that I don't get. But like when you start tweeting all the time about what your kid's doing on the court on the same team, it's just not a good look. I'm sorry. It comes off as you want to do that stuff, then retire.
It's also not a good look for for Bronny in the sense that
Yeah.
you have your dad sort of fighting your battles for you. You're like, I know you're 19, 20, but like you're an adult now. Like I don't need my parents fighting my battles for me, even if my dad's one of the best NBA players ever. And also, I don't think it's a good thing for Bronny that they're not going to send him to the G League. So, like, he's going to be on that Lakers bench the entire year and probably almost never play just because he's not very good. And like the best thing for Bronny in terms of like his development as a player would probably be, well, it would have been if he stayed in college and actually played in college. But like the next best thing, I guess, would be playing in the G League and getting those reps and playing starters minutes and doing all that. And instead, he's going to sit on the bench for the Lakers as a 13th, 14th guy and never play. I mean, I don't know.
It's like, okay, you could take bad PR because you're not playing and you don't belong on the bench, or you could take bad PR because you went down to the G League and you're trying to better yourself and develop yourself. I know which situation I'd rather deal with, but
yep. All right, last few cards in this pack. Al Horford, NBA champion, winning the title with the Celtics this year. He was all over the court for them. DeJounte Murray with the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta's probably not going to be very good. Mason Plumlee with the Clippers. What a shock with the Clippers, by the way. Kawhi Leonard's going to miss time with a knee injury. Couldn't have foreseen that one coming.
Complete shock.
Rookie card here, Simone Fodochenko with the Utah Jazz. I almost said Utah Hockey Club. Same owner, wrong sport. And last but not least, a give and go card here with one of my least favorite players in the NBA, Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, I mean, him and Luka found a way to coexist in Dallas. We'll see if that continues into this season. Yeah, and by the way, Al Horford, talk about a guy with longevity. I mean, he's still playing. I mean, he was relevant when I was playing fantasy basketball, and that was a very long time ago.
I mean, he won championships at Florida in college. He's been in the NBA for a long time, and he's one of those guys that does all the little things, and it's not really a surprise that now he's an NBA champion with the Celtics. So
well deserved.
Shout out to Al Horford, who's had a hell of a career. All right, well, let's do the baseball real quick. We got to make sure we get that one in because obviously we want the Yankees to go on and win this World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'll see.
A little superstitious on the show, just a little.
A little bit. Well, and hopefully we get a Yankee or two in this pack so we can actually talk about the series. But we will start with a rookie card here, Ronnie Henriquez with the Minnesota Twins. And that will end the Ronnie Henriquez discussion on the show because I don't know anything else about him. Let's see. Jace Peterson with the Oakland A's. It's going to be weird not saying Oakland A's anymore. I know we talked about this on the show before, so we're just going to have to kind of adjust to that. It'll be like when the Chargers finally moved from San Diego and people still call them San Diego Chargers.
Well, I think the branding is going to be the Athletics. I don't know if they're going to be known as the Sacramento Athletics temporarily, but I think they're just going to be the A's or the Athletics.
Yep. Nolan Arenado with the Cardinals has had a long, productive career as one of the better third basemen in the league. Didn't really have a great year this year, so we'll see how much longer they keep that group together. Ken Waldachuk, rookie card with the A's. I say that because I think Paul Goldschmidt's finally a free agent this year, and Paul Goldschmidt definitely did not have a good year this year.
No, he did not.
Austin Hedges, we saw a lot of him in the ALCS with the Guardians, but here he is with the Pirates. Doing a nice little, celebrating a base hit up the middle, so good for him.
If I was Austin Hedges, I would get that card blown up. Like, that's a cool looking card right there. Like, giving the old thumbs up and everything. Like, that's a good one.
Yeah, I like that. We talk about the poses in some of these cards, and they did a good job there with that one. Colin Moran with the Seattle Mariners. This has not been a good pack at all so far. So hopefully there's a card in here that redeems it. The Klubot in the Red Sox uniform will not be that card, nor will Brendan Donovan with the St. Louis Cardinals. Let's see, Michael Conforto with the Giants. And all right, here we go. Here's a good rookie card.
Okay.
I wish the player was a little bit better because if he was, the Yankees would probably be the favorites to win this series. How about an Anthony Volpe rookie card?
There we go. That's, that you wanted a Yankee. You got a decent one. You got a good, and it's a good rookie card. Maybe he'll make a name for himself in this World Series coming up. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's he's not going to be Jeter. He's not going to be A-Rod. And the fact that the Yankees were sort of hyping, oh, well, we got Volpe coming when they passed on all those shortstops like Corey Seager and all those guys when they were free agents, like that hasn't lessened the sting. But Volpe is a very good defender, and he has had his moments this October where he's gotten on base. He's made things happen. He's a good player to have towards the bottom end of that lineup. He'll put the ball in play. So you could do a lot worse than Anthony Volpe, I suppose. And plus,
Right.
it's only his second full year in the big leagues. Like he's still young. He could get better. He is a former top prospect. So
Let's do a little World Series preview here. I mean, I know it's early in the week, but what's your general feeling going into the series with the high-powered Dodger team? I mean, the Yankees have plenty of offensive punch too, but I mean, what I worry about is you look at and it was beneficial that the Yankees had an easier road to get to the World Series, but this is a big step up in opponent from Cleveland and everybody else in Kansas City that they've played. That's for sure.
All right. Well, since we're going to do that, let me both the rest of these cards real quick, and then I'll answer that question because
Okay.
none of the rest of these cards are very good. Drew Waters rookie card, Mike Moustakas, who I believe might be retired now. I'm not even 100% sure. JD Davis, who was on the Yankees briefly this year, and one-time Yankee Lance Lynn with a nice bushy beard there. So that's the rest of that back.
Send that
now to answer your
Bill Zimmerman.
Now to answer your question with the World Series. Yeah, the Yankees are in it's an interesting spot. They're going to be the underdogs in this series. LA, they have home field. They have the advantage there in terms of the top of the lineup, obviously home field and all that. I think LA is probably going to win the series. That's not me trying to like hedge it or anything like that as a fan. I just think 1-26, LA is probably a little bit of a better team. They have a pretty good bullpen. I do think they're vulnerable with their rotation, and that's one area the Yankees could take advantage of. I do think the Yankees could have some success against their bullpen. I mean, there's not a lot of guys in there who I think are overpowering. I think it's just a lot of really solid pitchers, sort of like how the Yankees have a lot of really solid pitchers in their bullpen. To me, I think this series is going to come down to whether or not the Yankees can get guys like Kike Hernandez, Max Muncy, Will Smith. I can't even think of the guy's name right now. Tommy Edman, who just won NLCS MVP. If you can keep those guys in check, because I feel like Ohtani's going to get his, Betts is going to get his, and Betts is on certainly on a heater right now. So that's one you have to certainly watch out for. Freeman's a real wild card just because he's so banged up right now. If the Yankees can keep the rest of their guys in check, I think they'll be in a good spot to potentially win the series. Ultimately, I think the Dodgers probably are a little too deep in their lineup, and I think they'll probably wind up winning the series in 6 or 7 games.
I agree. Trying to pick honestly, I do think the Dodgers end up coming away with it, but I think it's going to be a long series. I think it's going to be a fun series, and yeah, it's nice to be watching the Yankees in the World Series again. And I know a lot of baseball fans are going to tell me to shut that up right now, but it's been 15 years. It's been a little while for us Yankee fans. I know for other franchises, it's like go to hell. Like,
no, I totally understand that, but like, here's the other thing I'll say with the Yankees in regards to fandom and that sort of thing is, we certainly were spoiled in the 90s with how frequently they not only won the World Series, but just how frequently they were in the mix. They made these deep runs. It wasn't just the championship years. It's also like 97, 2001, 2003, and 2004 ALCS, and run after run after run with this group where, the last couple of years, anytime they made a run, like they would run into the Astros and they would get snuffed out. And then you had years like last year where they missed the playoffs entirely because Judge was hurt and they didn't have a Juan Soto last year. So I think as a fan, I'm just trying to look at it, be like, look, this is hard to go this far. And I think it's something we took for granted as fans back in the day, and just try to appreciate it and enjoy it because, I don't know when the next time the Yankees are going to get to a World Series is. And I know baseball fans elsewhere are rolling their eyes. It's like, well, you're the Yankees. You're there every year. No, they're not. The Yankees have not gotten there every year. And so I'm certainly trying to enjoy this for what it is.
And for me, with the other two teams I root heavily for, with the Jets and the Rangers, like the Yankees have been the only source of real championships in my life. I was 11 when the Rangers won the Cup, so in '94. So, yeah, like you said, maybe we took it for granted, because we went so often in the late '90s and were contenders throughout the first decade in the 2000s. But yeah, it's good to be back. Now, Barra did some 2023 Top Series 2. We'll see if we can roll with that for another week next week to keep the tradition alive in the Yankees in the playoffs. We'll start off with this 2022 Topps Heritage Baseball Pack with a Matt Vierling rookie card here with the Phillies. Like we said, it's got that 1973 Topps look there. Pretty basic, but still pretty cool. Let's see here. We got Brandon Belt, San Francisco Giants.
Long productive career for Brandon Belt. I mean, I guess this is 2022, so I think he's retired now. But yeah, certainly a long productive career with him. So nothing to be ashamed of.
We've got a Rafael Devers card here. Looks like it looked like his Little League picture day there.
It does look like Little League picture day. Certainly a great hitter. I mean, he's an adventure in the field, but the bat certainly plays.
We got a little insert here. World Series Game 5. Adam Duvall hits his first inning grand slam. All right, there we go. And we got JT Realmuto here with the Philadelphia Phillies. This is a cool action shot here. All base cards, but still pretty good cards here. Not my favorite look, but it is kind of cool to have that retro 73 look.
Very cool look. I like that.
Let's see. Phillies will be back in the mix next year. Faux show. We got Manuel Margot here with the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's see. Chris Flexen here looking like he's taking like a MySpace profile picture photo there, perhaps.
No,
okay.
That looks more like the old school like the old school MLB headshots. Like I feel like Honus Wagner would have had the same look on his baseball card.
Like back when it took 60 seconds to take a picture and you had to hold the face for a while, like back in that era. Let's see here. We got Miguel Rojas with another one of those, but with the picture being off in the distance there. Too cool for school to look at the camera. And then we got a Corbin Burns card here. Not too shabby here. He's looking at the camera. He's looking happy.
He's looking happy because he knows he's about to get traded from Milwaukee to another contender with the Baltimore Orioles. So that's why he's thrilled there.
And we got exactly. We got Robbie Grossman with the Tigers, also doing the not looking at the camera, facing off in the distance kind of thing. Another Little League photo here with Brian Reynolds, who's been quite the player for the Pirates over the last couple of years.
That must be the direction these players have gotten when they pose for these cards. Is be like, yeah, hey, look like you don't care.
Yeah, pretend like you just watched the bird fly overhead or something like that. You got your attention distracted. Let's see here. We got a Hunter Renfroe card. Not a great pack here. This pack's been sitting in the closet for a while and or in the drawer for a while. Not a great pack. Christian Walker here with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I dropped.
Oh, you never want to drop the card.
And instinctually, I went to go catch it by closing my knees. I'm like, that's not a good thing to do with a card. There we go. Nolan Arenado. He's looking.
Yep. Second time he's made an appearance on this show. Christian Walker is an interesting player as well. He's going to be a free agent this year. So that might be one where, if you're a team like the Yankees and you're looking to replace first baseman with, a better first baseman at this stage of the career, you might want to go Christian Walker. But I mean, then again, the Yankees are about to pay Juan Soto $700 million. So I don't know how much there's going to be left for everybody else to eat if they're going to do that.
Yeah, that's the thing, is what kind of budget are they going to have? Because you have to re-sign Juan Soto. You have to. You cannot let him go like that. You can't. All right. So,
all right, let me ask you a quick question, a hypothetical as a Yankee fan.
Okay.
The Yankees win this World Series. Are you okay with Juan Soto doing whatever he wants in free agency? And if he leaves, so be it.
Yeah, I mean, if they win, I mean, yeah, because it's oh, well, what if you would sign and stay? How many more rings can we get? But I think the way players operate now with everybody's got to get theirs, and I don't fault them for it. I'm not going to put it on Juan Soto that he feels like he should stay if he can get a bigger payday somewhere else. But I'd like to say it really has to be a contract that the Yankees can honestly say, sorry, we can't match that. Like, it can't be like small market, like, you could have gone to that number. You're the Yankees. You know what I mean? It has to be an offer that like everybody gets like, yeah, we can't pay that for you. Sorry.
Right. 100%. And I feel like the Yankees know what they have in Soto, and they'll probably go to those lengths to sign him. I know we've said a lot on the show before about how the Yankees have been kind of cheap over the years when it comes to some of this stuff, but I think the fact that they have Soto, and I think the fact that they've made this kind of run with him, and you know, he's as beloved as anyone is in that clubhouse. You know, if you're him, like, why would you leave and go anywhere else? Which is the other angle with this entire thing. Now, you would leave because somebody else is paying you more money, but I mean, the Yankees are going to pay you a ton of money. So, and you have this moment right now, and you might have plenty more of these moments. But, you know, ultimately, if he does decide to leave, like, if the Yankees win a championship, I think, you know, as painful as it would be, I think I'd be okay with him. Like, if he decided to, you know, take the money and go elsewhere. But man, I really want Juan Soto in that lineup. I really want him hitting second and hitting big 3-run go-ahead home runs to win the ALCS.
That's the thing. It's like, listen, the Yankees are going to hopefully give you a very fair offer. You want to make a lot of money and play on the Yankees and be in World Series contention for the next few years, or do you want to take a little bit more and maybe a tax-free state and maybe never get back there? So, you know, depending on how this goes, I could see him wanting to come back and maybe taking a tiny bit of a discount. As you saw, I throw a Joey Gallo card up there while we were talking Yankees. Just a couple more cards here to go. We'll go through them quickly. We got Yanni Hernandez rookie card with the Rangers. I got a Freddie Galvis with this is a cool mid-swing shot there with the Phillies. Patrick Corbin sporting a very cool Nationals cap there. I like that one. The Capitol building and the W on it. That's nice. And Yu Chang with the Cleveland Guardians. And finally, Harrison Bader pictured here, also very little leaguish with the St. Louis Cardinals. Got a great pack.
Yeah, that was certainly a pack.
Let's just get this bad taste out of our mouths right now, and it's time to do something we haven't done in a long time. So let's go cup chasing.
We want the cup! We want the cup! We want the cup!
That's right. We're hunting the 1990 Pro Set 1 of 5,000 Stanley Cup hologram card on Rip N Riff. Now, we'll go through this pretty quickly here. As you know, we've gone through a lot of these cards are going to be seen for like the 4th, 5th, 6th time because that's just how 90 Pro Set hockey went. So many. But maybe we get a hologram today. Maybe it happens. It's been a while.
Maybe.
We've earned it. There we go. There's the pack. All right, we start off with a Don Beaupre card there. One of the better goalie masks there of the era with the Capitol building on the front there. Always love that. We've got a Prince of Wales trophy, which was won by the Bruins that year. They did lose to the Oilers in 5 games, I believe. We got Ronnie Francis here. That's a good Ronnie Francis Whale card.
Yeah, we've seen Ronnie Francis before. Not doing the greatest job as the GM of the Seattle Kraken nowadays, but that's neither here nor there.
It's neither here nor there. Still a long season to go. We'll see what he does. We got Pat Eleniuk here, the picture with the Winnipeg Jets in those old school jerseys. The 1990 Lady Bing winner was Brett Hull. Good for you, Brett. Never would have thought you would win a Lady Bing. Never would have thought.
That's really funny to say many years after the fact.
You know, maybe, yeah, exactly. Yeah, just based on the way he celebrated the Blues Cup in 2019. Standing at the class or whatever. Russ Courtnall. We got that. One of the Courtnall brothers there, Jeff being the other. One of the better American defensemen, Gary Suter. We got half of the Shells, the Samuelson brothers. They're Shell, though Oaf, Kurt Giles, Bob Carpenter. One of the best hockey names of all time, Ron Tugnut. Can't do much better than that. It's a great, I'm surprised the Simpsons never did a prank phone call around the Tugnut name. Jim Johnson. It's our Penguins, and then we close with a couple of. We got Christian Rucci, the Sabres, and then we close with a couple of all-stars here. Brian Propp. And then in the one and only, Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, so no hologram this time around. A lot of the cards we've seen before. And I feel like Ron Tugnut would be a little too deep of a cut with The Simpsons in terms of trying to make that joke. I'm actually trying to think of like random Simpsons NHL references, and the only one I can think of off the top of my head is the Treehouse of Horror episode where Homer was on trial for finishing the Forbidden Donut, and the panel was made up of the 1975 Philadelphia Flyers.
Well, don't forget when Bart is with Miss Krabappel with the fake pen dating pen pal, whatever. Gordie Howe was the picture he used. Remember?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Forever yours, Gordie.
I think I forgot about it because I'm not a huge fan of that episode.
But nonetheless, that I'm trying to think. And then, of course, there's the episode where Bart and Lisa play on the other teams. But yeah, the Flyers Drury reference, that was a good one. Here's a guy here. So we'll go through this other pack. And yeah, listen, there's no hologram here. So we'll go super quick so we get to the starting lineup for figure 5. Call it a day here on this Monday edition of Rip and Riff. You actually might want this card. Scott Stevens, pictured as a capital.
I mean, it's not a Scott Stevens rookie card, so I don't know. I always feel weird about like Scott Stevens like rookie stuff because his rookie year was with Washington, obviously. So I don't know that I'd necessarily go out on my way to get a Scott Stevens rookie.
There you go. We got Rick Meager here, 1990 Selke winner with the St. Louis Blues. The guy who gets thrown in the same sentence with Martin Brodeur a lot is the greatest goalie of all time. There he is, Patrick Waugh.
Certainly on the list. And by the way, the Islanders are off to start doing typical Islanders things, which is every game goes to overtime and they never lose in regulation because why would they?
Oh. I mean, why would you let your fans get out of the building a little bit earlier to go home? Why? Why would you do that? Got his backup from that year, back-to-back there, Brian Hayward. Let's see here. Who won the King Clancy in 1990? That was Kevin Lowe, Paul McDermott, Joel Otto, Kenny Linsman, Stuart Gavin, Brad Marsh, Todd McKegney, Rob Brown, and then let's see here, Dave Snuggerud, and then we got Al McInnes and Pierre Turgeon. So yeah, that was a pack. That was a pack.
That was a pack.
Now,
anything else to add to that?
I got nothing else to add to that. I did not bring good packs to the table today, and I ask for penance based on that because all 3 of my packs were crappy today.
That's fine. Yeah, they can't all be winners. So it is what it is. Obviously, I'll win our fake competition here for pull of the day. So for me, it's between the Volpe card, which I have front and center right here, and the what's it called? The Chet Holmgren rookie card, which I have right here. I do want to pull the Holmgren card a little bit closer to the camera just so you can kind of get a better look at that.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's a nice one there.
Yeah,
I don't even know if I have anything to like even be like, well, I have this. No, I got nothing.
No, don't embarrass yourself. There's no need for it. As much as I like this Chet Holmgren card, I'm going to go with the Volpe rookie just because the Yankees are in the World Series. If they weren't in the World Series, I'd probably go the other way. But we need a more good karma and good juju, and we need the Yankees to bring a championship home. And hopefully Volpe's a big part of it.
Come on, Volpe. Absolutely. Come on, Volpe. Let's get going here. We're going to need you this World Series. Gets off. First pitch is Friday at Dodger Stadium. I can't imagine what ticket prices are going to be for a Yankee-Dodgers World Series in both cities.
I don't know. I know some big dumb idiot who's got a wad of cash sitting right behind him. So that might be where some of it goes.
If Jared is nowhere to be found next week, we'll know where he is depending upon the way the schedule breaks. But yeah, he's got a pile of cash there, and the Yankees are in the World Series for the first time in 15 years. Now, let's wrap things up here with starting lineup figure 5. And today's is going to be football. We talked some football early. We didn't do any football cards, but we'll do a little football figure 5. And with that, Jared, you have 5 questions to figure out who it's going to be.
Is our player a quarterback?
He is not a quarterback.
He's not a quarterback. Is our player a running back?
He is a running back. We did have the starting lineup figure 5 last week, be a bunch of strong 90s running backs, and yet another running back up at the fold here.
All right. Is this running back in the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
No, he is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. For sure.
All right. Has this running back been on a Super Bowl winning team?
He is not he is not a champion, no. 7 years in the league, 3 teams. You'd remember him with one specific.
Three teams. Did this player ever play for the New York Jets?
No.
Okay. I'm not sure where I was going with that, but figure just name a team that might have a few running backs. I think I was leading Adrian Morrell for a second, but that would
I
not
do
be
have
the
an
case.
Adrian Morrell starting lineup, but no, that is not who we're unboxing today. He's already out of the box.
All right, so now I got to register a guess, and I really don't have a whole lot to go on with this one.
I think you got one more question, don't you?
I don't think so, because I asked quarterback, running back, Hall of Fame, champion,
And then the Jets.
and then a specific team. So that's
So-
5.
So there you go. So I'll throw a hint at you because you're not gonna think about this guy unless you're gonna be way off here. He was bigger in college than he was in the pros, and I'm gonna put a little emphasis on the word bigger. And he was a first-round pick.
Is it Ron Dane? I can't believe they made a Ron Dane starting lineup.
Maybe I put you over the edge there, but I got that one right away. Once the bigger put you over the top, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is they extend. Not only did they make one for him, but this is part of the extended series. So they had extra ones to make, and they said, "Let's make one of this guy."
Oh, I mean, I know the Giants were coming off the Super Bowl in 2000, so I guess they figured, hey, he's a young player on the team, and he might wind up being pretty good. It turns out he wasn't really very good as a pro, but I mean, he did manage to stick around in the league for 7 years. So I remember him playing also with the Texans, and I'm not sure who the third team was. I want to say Packers.
Spent one season with the Denver Broncos.
Okay.
So funny enough about Ron Dane, his career high was 770 yards, and his second best year was his rookie year, 770 yards rushing in his rookie season. His career best was his last season in Houston, 773. So figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, but running backs have a short shelf life, and I don't know.
So we're not going to have the same pose as the card there because obviously he is not playing at that point. But this is the position that you would expect Ron Dane to be in right there, carrying the ball, protecting it. Big guy coming down. He's a north-south guy, not going to do much east-west, going to try and run over you. I mean, I remember at Wisconsin, he was just a force to be reckoned with.
He was a Heisman finalist, wasn't he?
Let me pull up his college page there.
But yeah, Ron Dane was certainly probably a better-known college football player than an NFL player. I think that is very much fair to say.
Yes, he won the Heisman in 99. And, I mean, 6,397 yards over 4 years at Wisconsin.
He won the Heisman.
In 99.
So if I were Ron Dane, I'd be upset that I'm not part of this Heisman House series of commercials that we get every year. Because they get all these... They get all these legends here, but like Ron Dane's certainly not a legend, but he is a Heisman Trophy winner. So like they should do an offshoot series of the Heisman House with all of the Heisman winners that we don't speak about, like him and Jason White and
Josh Heupel.
Josh Heupel. Yeah, I was trying to think of Josh Heupel's name. I wanted to say Eric Heupel, but no, it was like Eric Crouch or Eric
Crouch.
Eric Crouch and then Tim Couch, excuse me. So yeah, and I don't even know if all those guys won Heisman's. I know a few of them did. So
the Heisman voting the year Dane won it, and I would consider him like a low-key college legend because I mean he was a force for Wisconsin those years. He beat out Joe Hamilton, Michael Vick, Drew Brees, Chad Pennington, Peter Warrick, Sean Alexander, Thomas Jones, LeVar Arrington, and the immortal Tim Rattay.
I mean, that's a pretty good list there of guys he beat out, and there's certainly a long list of notable college players that like never won a Heisman. Like Andrew Luck was one of the greatest college football players I think we've ever seen. He didn't win a Heisman Trophy, so it's kind of surreal when you think about it that way, but it is what it is.
Now, he's going to be joining the starting lineup studio audience next week. Now, we didn't unbox one last week, so I decided to just go with representatives from the AL and NLCSs here. So the only Cleveland one I've got is Jose Mesa from the 97 series, a.k.a. Joe Table. We got Bernie Williams dropping down a bunt there from the 2000 series, 2000 starting lineup series. Then we got we got Mike Piazza ×2, 1998 classic doubles, which I believe came with Pudge Rodriguez. And then they're pictured with the Mets in 2000. So there you go. We got a Yankees-Dodgers World Series in the middle. And, yeah, Ron Dane going to be a part of that audience next week. We'll see what theme I do based on, big running backs. Maybe we'll find out. But, Jared, back on the win side here with getting Mr. Dane out of the box.
Yeah, it's good to see. I was just thinking about the time Mike Piazza was with the Marlins for a week. And I'm just wondering, is there any, like, memorabilia or any cards, any starting lineup figures, anything like that commemorates Mike Piazza's time with the Florida Marlins? Because that would be one of those weird collecting niches that I would be into, like if I was a Mike Piazza collector. But since I'm not, I haven't really thought about it.
I'm trying to I did a search for that online. Yeah, that looks like that they're, well, not counting like 2023 like Don Russ, like doing a throwback card. I don't know if they did. I don't think he was there long enough.
Yeah, he was literally there for a week.
Yeah, I don't think they did it. But yeah, maybe Don Russ did a throwback there. We'll see. Yeah, Tops looks like maybe in 2019 they did something. I don't know. But nonetheless, we'll be on the hunt for that. But also, hockey season's here. Talking Devils before, all about the jersey.com, AAT Jersey blog. You'll see Jared's work there. If you want some content on how Jared has those big weekends, sometimes it comes across like that. There you go, at Jared Moore Poker. And then, of course, coming up later this week, Total Hockey Now. I'll have a new episode with Ant Rivera 86 and Fuzzy Chris 91. We do our stuff on Thursdays there. So there we go. But nonetheless, it's been a good show, Jared. I've been happy with this. You've been happy with today?
I am adequately satisfied with the program today.
Adequately satisfied. That's for us. That's pretty good. So for at Mr. Jared Moore, you see it there on the screen. I'm at Pucking Thoughts. Back with you next. No, not next Monday. Next time we'll be with you is on Halloween with a special guest. Gonna have a lot of fun with that guy. Hopefully everything comes together. Anyway, we're gonna be trick or treating with you next Thursday on the 31st. So for at Mr. Jared Moore, I'm at Pucking Thoughts. See you next week on Rip N Riff.